This is a big area. The Everglades is a great hiding spot. I've spent the last 35 years of my life trying to let people know that they're here. And that's my goal. That's my purpose.
Welcome to Florida, a state so bizarre that we had to make a show about it. I'm Rich Robinson. I'm a third-generation Floridian, and the whole time I've lived in this place, I've been basically thinking the same thing. What the heck is going on here? This is Crazy Florida. You ever heard of a skunk ape? That's right, Skunk Ape. It's classic Florida folklore, our own Bigfoot legend. There are scores of people all across the state who have devoted parts of their lives to the discovery and the protection of these supposed creatures. I can hear you chuckling at home, but this isn't a laughing matter. This is serious business in Florida.
The Big Cypress National Preserve lies on the northern border of Everglades National Park. I've lived here all my life. Gladesmen, that's the life out here. A gladesman is somebody who pretty much self-sufficient in the Everglades, can feed themselves, build a shelter, survive. It's really hard to have a girlfriend out here. People don't understand you. It's tough. There's not a whole lot of work out here. People were told that people who lived in the Everglades were bad people, that they really shouldn't be living out here, and that we were destroying the Everglades by living here.
You can't talk about the skunk ape legend without paying a visit to Dave Shealy. He's the godfather, the big dog.
I'm surprised, I really am surprised I'm still alive today. So many times. I've been almost killed by big alligators twice now. Even my snake, I got the second biggest snake in the world. I caught that snake myself. That snake almost killed me. I looked up and it was fixing to bite me in the head. At first you're watching the video and you see something moving, and that's a hammock. That's higher ground. It's naturally about 12 inches higher than the grasslands off to the edges of it. So you keep in mind it's sticking in that hammock because that's the high ground. That's what's called a bridging area. And as you're watching it walk down the side, it's staying up inside the edge all the way down. It's moving pretty quick and it disappears a couple times. And then as it gets down towards the ends of it, it breaks out across the field. And that's right where that deer ran through. And all of a sudden, it's going faster and faster and faster. And as it gets out in the open where it's exposed, it's just screaming. It's running as fast as a deer. And it's headed into a palmetto hammock. And that's where I collected that track that I keep in the shop. Was right when it hit that palmetto hammock, it planted a foot on the dry ground so hard it sank in, I was able to cast it. Why was it running? What was it doing? And I've asked myself that several times, and I put a lot of study into it. I believe it was chasing that deer. I believe it was hunting. A skunk ape is a lot like a Bigfoot. People see the Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest. They got other names all around the world where they see these creatures like ape men, tall. So that's what a skunk ape is. That's what we have here in the Everglades. They have 4 toes, where Bigfoots normally have 5 toes. They're commonly spotted in the trees. People see them in the trees out here. And that's not normal Bigfoot behavior. They're I believe some type of a primate. I really do. Some of the reports say, oh, we just saw a chimpanzee or a small gorilla. but we don't have those here. It's a skunk ape.
You're willing to take the idea of a God on faith? Why won't you accept that there can be a skunk ape?
But Kathy, tell me, do you really believe this wild man in the woods?
I just think because you haven't seen it is not a good enough reason to say it doesn't exist. And history has proven in the past that that doesn't always work out.
Kathy defines the skunk ape as a
large, hair-covered person who has a peculiar odor and has an affinity for lima beans.
It's called the skunk ape 100% because of the smell. Some people say a wet dog, moldy cheese, rotten eggs. It smells like a skunk.
sounds like me after a day out in the swamp.
Dave Shealy is a believer. I know people who have worked with him, and I've asked them, hey, off the record, is this? No, he believes. He absolutely believes, and he's been mocked. He was on The Daily Show years ago. They were very clearly making fun of him. I'm sure people think he's crazy Florida man, but he's passionate about it. And I've been to the Skunk Ape Research headquarters. I can see where, in a world of literature reviews and scientific protocol and all the ways that we look for proof on things, this guy in the woods, because it is basically a guy in the woods saying this, is not going to be taken seriously by any academic community. I would also tell you that most of those academics have not spent more than a few days in the Everglades. So I think there's something to be said for ground truthing things. The first thing I say when people don't know what the skunk ape is we say, well, that's one of Florida's Bigfoots, because there's actually three. There's three separate legends of skunk apes in Florida. Skunk ape is the legend of Bigfoot in South Florida. And if they don't know what Bigfoot is, then you say, what's a cryptid? And a cryptid is a creature that is believed to not exist. There are animals we have discovered that were believed to be cryptids for a really long time. They're gonna say, well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not real. And history bears that out. We have sworn that certain ocean creatures didn't exist, and then you find them, and those people that everybody thought were crazy crackpots who needed medicine are like, I've been telling you, every culture on the planet, whether it is Dave Shealy, white guy in the Glades, or an island of people that has not ever run into any other people, they have three things in common. They have legends of mermaids, they have legends of ghosts, and they have legends of some sort of Bigfoot. There's no scientific proof that anybody has ever seen any of those three creatures. But if they're not real, are we all just having a mass hallucination? Or is it possible that there's something out there we just don't understand?
Let's be honest. You all think we're nuts. But for the ardent believers of the skunk ape, anything is possible. And your disbelief doesn't really matter.
Finding an animal described to be the size and the configuration of a skunk ape would kind of shock me.
As you're about to see, the uncertainty's the whole ball game. Let's play.
Picture me upon your knee, just tea for two and two for tea.
This is my favorite part. This is my favorite. Right when you're here and you start to run, I love that part. Let me see that. Show me how you were running. No, you don't want to do that. You're a little shy. Oh, I understand. So what were you thinking right there? Were you trying to run fast or trying to get some? You weren't not sure. Just moving. Oh. Yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
The barred owls will scare the crap out of you, that's for sure. Because they just squawk. They sound like they're killing each other.
Our team hit the road and embedded ourselves with a Bigfoot hunting group in Central Florida.
This is one of our favorite investigation areas. It's undisclosed because it's an active research area for us.
Woo! Lets them know it's me coming. Back here, I started hearing those calls going back and forth. I would hear just whoo, and then hear whoo, coming back and forth. You start hearing that whoo, whoo. It's like they're talking to each other, saying, okay, I'm here, you're here, I'm here.
And a month and a half ago, I captured on a trail cam 2 sheriff officers with a canine. coming through here, and we're like, why? What are you doing looking out here in our area?
There's a lot of people come up missing, and they don't ever find them. They say there's even been some hunters missing. They say that if you kill one of these things, that the other ones will get you before you can get out of the woods.
We've had 2 of these large, long sticks that we've had out here for, what, about a year or so? But when we were out here like a month and a half ago, a 3rd one has been added. And it's strange that all 3 of them are pointing the same direction. At about a 30-degree angle, they're all shoved in the ground. You know, gravity doesn't do this. If this came from up here, it would be straight. It would not be impaling itself sideways into the ground. So, and they're in there. Yeah, there's going to be a 4th one that's going to be added. The purpose of the tape trap is, you know, we put candy in there, so they would have to grab it. And what you're hoping for is to get hair, get some hairs.
Having eyes on something is not necessarily a good thing for something, for a creature, because humans, we don't have a great track record with anything that is not us. For any creature, it doesn't bode well for it to be discovered. I would honestly be very happy if, when I died, there was still no proof of the skunk ape, because I think that if we ever did find one, it would be horrible for it.
Here's the photo.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, it's lengthwise. I thought it would be the other way. Wow. That's really weird.
Yeah, just sitting on top of one of these cypress knees. I think it was over here. Strange, right? That's not natural.
To bring it way over here and then place it carefully like that.
On top.
On its own little
Took
cypress
hands.
knee.
It took hands to do that and delivered it.
Just right over here.
So you think it was some sort of message to you guys, or to?
I think it was a gift to
I think
us.
so.
I think, yeah, we believe it was a gift for us. We're very good friends, and we go out every single weekend. We're serious, dedicated Bigfoot and skunk ape researchers. We go out on investigations all throughout the state of Florida. We have a purposely bent down, broken fence here, and you can see right here, something bent this post right here. I brought rocks from home that you can stack. I just put them in a pattern, and just to see what would happen, see if they stack them up like they do in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere else in, you know, the northern United States.
3 of the group members have never seen a skunk ape, but Mike Aguilar has, and his story is pretty insane. Were you expecting something different?
One time I was by myself, and there was a trail that you have to take a bike and you have to ride the bicycle back through, and you ride your bike back to about 1.5 miles, 2 miles back. Then you get off and it's another about half a mile hike that I was doing, and I was back there completely by myself. And as I went down this little road that took me down towards a creek, I found a couple footprints. And as I found the footprints, everything in my brain said, you probably shouldn't go down here. Like, it's, you know, I found a tree that was knocked over blocking the trail, and it just felt like something was telling me not to come back there. And I'm stubborn, so I stepped over the tree. And when I stepped over the tree, I found a bigger footprint. And I'm sitting there looking at that bigger footprint, and I heard something crunch and crash. I don't know if you've ever heard a tree break that's about this big around. It makes a very loud sound, crash. And then it fell into the palmetto. And I was like, oh my God. And I was kind of looking at what happened to my right. And I started looking to my right, and I didn't see where it came from, but I just started hearing this rumble. It just got louder and deeper. It scared me. It scared me pretty bad. I'm a pretty tough guy. At that moment, I didn't feel too tough. I got up, turned, I yelled at it, I'm leaving, I'm sorry. And I started walking out of there. As I started walking out, whatever it was started following me. And I had to walk about 1/2 mile back to my bicycle. So I'm freaking out now. Something just growled at me. This thing is over here to my left. I don't know what it is, but I can hear it when I'm walking. It's walking. Crunch, 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 crunch. I stopped, it stopped. It threw stuff at me. It threw a stick. I could hear him hitting the bushes as it was hitting. I got to my bike, and everything seemed to be fine. I got back out, started riding out, and I got just about back to my truck, and I started getting a headache. And then my ears started feeling like they were swollen. Like I just felt like you kept playing with your ears, like if you had an ear infection. And for 3 days, I had a migraine. For 3 solid days, my ears felt like they were swollen. And ever since that day, now I'm more sensitive to whatever's in the woods. I come out and I start getting these weird, like my ears bother me when I'm in the area wherever they are. It's like I'm more sensitive to them now.
Myakka, Florida, March 2nd, 2013. Mike Falconer and his son are traveling through the state park near their house. Mike was born and raised in the area, so he knows when things are off. And things feel very, very off to him.
So I pulled over, my son and I jumped out of the truck, and I actually ran back to the truck, grabbed my cell phone. I was trying to get pictures of it or video because I kind of knew immediately what you were looking at, but you wanted to prove that it wasn't what you were seeing. So you don't really believe what you're seeing, but you think you know what you're seeing, and it's like, you're all wound up at this point. Myakka is north of the Everglades. It's the largest state park in Florida. So I would imagine just about anything can probably get in here. For about 2 weeks, I noticed things were different. I saw more buzzards than I'd ever seen in my life. An extreme amount of buzzards. I'd never seen anything like it. There was that one Saturday night when the sun was going down. I was driving through the park, and a truck in front of me pulled over. Well, that's pretty common. People pull over, they see deer or whatever. So my son and I were looking at it. Other people started seeing it pulling over. And this one lady had a camera with a zoom lens on it, and I asked if I could borrow it. I zoomed in. It was at that time, it wasn't really visible because where it was, because this grass was 4 to 5 foot tall in a lot of areas, and it would squat down and be gone. But with the naked eye, it's very visible. With the iPhone 4 with no zoom on the video is terrible, as always. But we took after it. We ran as close as we could get to it. But as we were running towards it, it was going away from us. We ended up coming to the Myakka River, which was low, but there's a lot of mud before you even get to the river. And it was on the other side of it, and it kept on going, and it ended up going to that head of woods over there. Well, that's where the river is. So it was about there or somewhere, maybe it was even on this side of it when it started, because it was actually more over here. That's where I saw it. From that point on, with me having no interest in such a thing, I was out there every single day. I was walking that area. I ended up finding footprints, and they measured 15 inches. Found an area where it peed on a tree, fresh. And this was me going out there every day, because in that head of woods. I don't know if you've ever seen a cow or a female horse pee. That amount, it looked like peed on a tree at about, 3.5 feet up the tree. And the whole tree was wet on one side and it was still foam. So I actually bagged that because Stacy and all those guys came from out of the woodwork. I gave that to them unspoiled for DNA testing.
All right, Stacy. So what did the big old puddle of pee end up teaching us?
All we had was this piece of bark that was in a bag that supposedly had urine on it. It's not the easiest thing to get DNA from.
I don't know what they do, anybody does with that stuff, but it, never came back to me, no answer. I don't know where it went. Why didn't somebody DNA test it?
We had an encounter. We had found scat from the creature. It had this urine-soaked bark from Falconer. Our hopes were way up here, and then reality sets in. And you get told by the scientists that we can't do nothing with this. What do you want me to do with a piece of bark?
Tell me what animal is out there that could pee that much as a horse or a cow. It's in an area where there's no animals.
This story's getting a bit confusing for me. So when I feel confused, I like to come back to childhood stomping grounds, which brings us here to Zoo Miami, where we talk to a world-renowned animal expert, hopefully get some answers to this whole thing. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was back in the 80s, actually, when I started working at the zoo. And they talked about this skunk ape, you know, that it was the southern Bigfoot, the southern Sasquatch, the southern abominable snowman. There's so many names for similar creatures. And people think about the Everglades, they always think about swamps, you know, the river of grass. And it's so much more than that. So there's a lot of mystery to the Everglades when you think about the expansiveness of it, the remoteness of it in many places, and the variety of the different habitats. Dave Shealy is one of those wonderful characters of the Everglades. I met Dave Shealy many years ago. He had a Skunk Ape museum out there. You know, you walked out and you had this big panther on a big statue, and you walked into the museum and he had the footprints cast. He had the hair, supposedly, of the skunk ape. He had, you know, skunk ape poop, kind of fossilized stuff there. I mean, this guy had everything skunk ape in there. The more we listened to Dave, the more we realized he was a very good storyteller.
There were two European ladies who were photographing bromeliads here in the preserve, and they were on the Turner River Road. They hear rustling in the woods back by their car. Skunk ape comes out of the bushes, right? It's got an erection, right? It's growling at them. It's going in and out. It comes out. It finally gets far enough away from the car towards them where they feel they run around. They just go right over. They don't even open the doors. Get in the car to the ranger station, and they tell the rangers. And the ranger's like, "Well, you need to go down to the headquarters there and talk to Dave." And they came in here and told me about it.
At the end of the day, we spent the night out there. The feces, the poop, was pig poop, wild pig poop. The hair disappeared mysteriously because we said, gosh, you know, let's take this hair. We can do a DNA test on the hair. We've never been able to find a dead one or the remains of one. And if this thing exists for so long, because the myth goes on for, you know, over 100 years that this thing's been here. Either it's the longest living single animal, or there's more than one and they've got to breed.
They're here, and I've been doing this all my life. We've got more than one. We have between 7 and 9 skunk apes that live here in the Big Cypress National Preserve alone.
I found where something peed that I cannot figure out what could have done that other than a cow backing up to a tree or a female horse, which makes no sense. But that's how much pee was, and it was up on the tree and down, and then there was foam.
Does it bother you when people, not that they don't believe you, but that they don't have the same zeal for finding out that you have? Does that affect you in any way?
No, because they would have it if they see something. I mean, if somebody else had seen what I saw, they would have done the same thing. They'd want to know. It was a moment in my life that, you know, I'll never forget.
In Florida, according to the BFRO, the Bigfoot Research Organization, Florida's ranked number 3 for having the most reported sightings in the United States. That's significant. If we actually, you know, see one or know that really one is living there, we're not telling anybody. We don't want to mess things up, and we don't want to mess it up for them too. Because if they are showing themselves to us, then they trust us. They know that we're good people. We're all animal lovers.
Champ gets back up. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I think, like, you know, Muhammad Ali got back up. If you're gonna be the greatest, bro, if you're gonna get this done, you just gotta continue to move forward. Seeing is believing.
We have discovered primates, big primates, in forests in Asia, relatively recently, where people say, well, come on, how did you not discover this primate? Because these animals know how to avoid people. My mind is wide open. I know tourists who come down here all the time that love to visit David Shealy's place, go in there and kind of wonder, what if? Could it be? It's great to have that kind of wonder in your life.
A lot of people don't believe that something like this can exist, but I'm here to tell you that they do, and I've proven it. And my research anymore isn't so much about how many or if they're real or like my research is mainly focusing now is what are we going to do to protect these things?
Crazy is not a pejorative to me. I love the way Florida is. I have no desire for Florida to be any more normal. And I think if Florida's crazy, it's the right kind of crazy.
Be a good gladesman.